Sparking debate tonight whether to change the names of Mid-State High School mascots. Franklin High School tonight no longer home of the Rebels.
That's right. The director of schools approved that change, and another Mid-State school, one in Winchester, may be doing the same. Fox 17 News' Rachel Teedy now live in Franklin with why some say this is about more than just a school logo.
And people are very heated about this. Franklin High School decided to change that name after a special committee recommended that to the superintendent, who ultimately made the official decision to remove the Rebels. But a school in Winchester, Tennessee, Franklin County High School, also the Rebels. Very confusing. Some folks say there that Rebels need to go as well. Petitions galore. Almost 5,000 people say they want the mascot at Franklin County High School removed. On the other side, there are a couple petitions for keeping it as it is, both combined sitting at about 4,500 signatures. Shanae Williams says the Rebel needs to go.
Be the Patriots, be anything but a rebel that rebelled the idea of people of any color being included.
Originally, the school board was supposed to talk about this next week, now moved to October, so the board can focus on several other issues like COVID-19 and starting school.
We just felt like it would be better to wait and be able to give a more informed, educated discussion when we do bring it up in October.
Shanae doesn't believe that.
I felt like it was a stall tactic. And every time it's brought up, something happens to where it's like, people forget.
Back in Williamson County, the new mascot for Franklin High is now up to the principal, who will gather community input. You weighed in on social media, many saying this was not a good idea. One person saying they should just leave it alone to preserve history, or that they didn't believe the Rebel name was linked to the Confederacy. But others say it's time.
But a lot of it is that emotional reaction of like, you're taking away my history, or I'm a rebel, I'll always be a rebel. Like, well, nobody's doing that. They're just saying that doesn't reflect the values of the school now.
And Carl adds it's about including everybody in the community.
It just takes away something that is, pretty racist and offensive to people.
I reached out to several people who on social media said they were against the name changes. Nobody wanted to talk to me on camera about it, but I did speak to a student in Winchester who says that he thinks the name should stay there, but isn't interested to hear what the rest of the student body has to say.
In the fight for equality tonight, Williamson County now taking public feedback on its county seal, which is under scrutiny for displaying the Confederate flag on a portion of that seal. It's the top left quadrant that's in question by some, and the task force evaluating the seal had its first discussion this week. Williamson County parents started a petition in June after the death of George Floyd to remove the flag as a symbol of inequality and racism.
The first 24 hours, they had over 250 people respond with their opinions, pro or con, or their suggestions.
How important do you think it is to have this discussion right now and to at least consider removing it?
I think the discussion, the transparency between our community and back to the task force so they can make recommendations back to the county commission. The county commission will look at this in September, the second Monday in September.
As of tonight, the county tells me they've gotten input from 745 people so far. The county is taking that public feedback all the way through August 14th. I have a link for you at fox17.com if you would like to weigh in.
New numbers tonight reveal just how much extra taxpayer money has been spent by the state guarding the Capitol building during the protests last month. Overtime costs alone for the Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers stationed there is nearing $1 million. While protesters
call it a waste, Fox 17 News' Nikki Jenowitz is live tonight at the state capitol to explain why the governor's office says this is necessary.
As Scott and Stacy, protesters that I spoke with today told me that they think it's just outrageous that THP officers got paid that much money last month to enforce the laws out here on Legislative Plaza. They say that they think that it was unnecessary, their presence here, but meanwhile, THP tells me that they have no plans of easing up their enforcement anytime soon.
47 days and counting. That is how long protesters have had a presence at the Tennessee state capitol, demanding equality in the wake of George Floyd's death at the hands of police.
We have to be there for the most disenfranchised in our community, and so we feel a moral obligation to be out there standing for those who can't speak for themselves.
Some nights more heated than others. Remember June 15th? Protesters refusing to leave, dragged off the grounds into police custody. Angel Stansberry is a regular on Legislative Plaza, getting arrested twice. While the state says THP is just enforcing the law, she sees their enforcement as yet another example of the kind of behavior they're trying to stop.
It seemed to them, I guess, that they could raid us and arrest us and, emit chemical irritants in our presence to push us back, whether we're on the lawn or in the middle of a jail cell. They've shoved people off 8-foot-tall walls. They've raided and taken personal belongings.
According to the Department of Safety and Homeland Security, Tennessee Highway Patrol officers earned more than $850,000 in overtime from May 31st to June 30th.
It's such a show of bravado, and just it really reflects a flagrant use of taxpayer funding. For somebody who's supposed to represent fiscal conservatism, I find it very superfluous and very superficial.
Early projections show Tennessee could face a budget shortfall up to $800 million just this year. The governor's office, though, telling Fox 17 it has no plans of cutting back, saying, in quote, "The protesters you reference have repeatedly defaced public property and violated Tennessee law. We will continue to protect public property and enforce the law."
And so it seems at this point there is really no end in sight to the scene out here outside the state capitol building, I should say. Protesters say that they're not going to leave this area until Governor Lee himself comes out to speak with them. And THP says that they're not leaving the area until the protesters do. Reporting live on Legislative Plaza, Nikki Jenowitz for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.